Oh, so many DVDs of little girls in bikinis posing. Oh,
Oh,
cannot unsee.
talking about Tokyo or?
Yeah.
Where else would he be talking about? Fucking Australia.
So it's not as much. To me, an aftermath is like after the bombs have dropped. You're
That is what an
rebuilding your
aftermath is, isn't
society.
it?
Right. So you're not so much the bombs have dropped. You're like just continuing to try to rebuild a destroyed city that
Right,
never was
in the
really that.
aftermath of my day off.
Right.
And I am the bomb.
But did the bombs? You are. Oh, see that? Now I get it. You're the bomb. That's great, Conrad. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I didn't even say hi. I just started talking.
My friend is Jonathan Holmes. My friend is Jonathan Holmes. My friend is Jonathan Holmes. Pull your sweet ass cheeks apart.
Oh no!
I'd like to hear you fart.
Why? Why? That's terrible. I mean, it's not the worst sound.
Final
It's a little
Fantasy
fun.
X intro this week for you, Jonathan Holmes.
Oh, I forgot about Final Fantasy X. It's a good
That's
one.
that was just a little piece off my upcoming album. Um, Jim Sterling sings the greats brackets all Final Fantasy songs, but with Jonathan Holmes replacing the lyrics. Close brackets.
People liked the Final Fantasy VII music, which I also did not recognize. Conrad, you missed that last week.
They did. I'm
Jim.
milking the old joke. You see, as evident, I was miming milking pretend udders. Then I'm still doing it.
Were you really? Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds. I wish I
just
could see that.
just for people to visualize at home. If I was doing this motion with you in the room, Jonathan, I wouldn't be miming and they wouldn't be udders.
It would just be painfully.
I'd just be
squeezing.
wanking you off, Jonathan.
Oh,
I'd just be beating off your cock with my hand until you
ouch.
inevitably orgasm and semen comes out the end of it into my mouth, my eager, hungry mouth. And
Oh my.
I'll wipe a bit on my lips as well. So just like that, just waking you off over onto my face, and a bit goes like just streaks down the side of my cheek, and that's when I like run my finger along it, and then put my finger in my mouth and suck it and look up at you, and then you strike me on the head and go, "Good dog."
It's funny you would mention that because I had an idea for a reoccurring Podtoid segment this week, and this links perfectly to my idea.
Is it where I wank you off?
No,
Oh,
no.
then
Well,
I'm
I mean,
literally not interested then.
I want you, Jim, to be the star of more things.
Oh, God.
Don't you think that's a good idea?
That's the worst idea.
Oh, come on. They should remake the Cosby Show, and you're Rudy.
I'm drinking Smirnoff Green Apple. It's really sour.
Think about if they made a new Cosby Show, got the whole cast back together.
Right.
Cosby, Claire, Theo, you know. But you are the new Rudy.
I'd play the one that got shot.
Rudy didn't get shot. Rudy was the first cute one before Raven Simone took the part of the cute one.
Oh.
So you'd be like the once was cute, but still at one point the show was all about Rudy. You know, the backpack said Rudy on it and stuff like that. But you would be you see.
I'll be honest. All I remember from the Cosby Show is Bill Cosby saying, "Call your stockbroker." And because I was a child, I had no idea what a stockbroker was. And in many ways, I don't understand the concept still.
Yeah, it is confusing.
Because
Yeah.
it's business. I'm not a businessman, I'm talent.
Well, it would, normally you are talent. On the Cosby Show, Bill Cosby would have a problem, or his family would be causing a problem. He'd be like, Rudy, the pudding, Theo! And then Rudy would be like, Dad! And then everyone would laugh. But in this case, he would be like, Rudy and the pudding, Theo! And then you'd be like, masturbating Jonathan Holmes' cock, sperm spewing all over my face, and then Cosby just mortified.
I didn't realize I was a member of Spinal Tap.
That's how you thought. You are the guitar player for Spinal Tap.
That's the problem. My father-in-law does this as well. His impression of me sounds like, Oliver Twist. Some sort of London urchin. Because it's the only one Americans do. It's, hello, governor. I am from England.
Well, and
Are
it's
you
funny because
doing accent or now?
we can hear different ones. Like, I can tell the difference. But my voice is incapable of doing anything but that horrible Cockney. It's not that I don't want to. It's I can't make my mouth bend that way.
Well, that's generous of you. I couldn't. When Jim was just pretending to talk like different, he sounded exactly the same to me just now.
You racist.
My God.
You're. I'll be honest with you, John. This isn't for the listeners to hear, right? This is just between you and I, right? Your fucking racism has gotten us in trouble for the last time.
Wow.
I need you
swear
to
to
stop.
God. I bet the people in Cardiff are just thrilled right now.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's bad enough
No,
for them that
America's
they have
not
to
the
live
only
in
place in the
fucking
world.
Cardiff.
Cardiff? Is that like in Iran?
Yes, it's not quite in Iran. It's just off to the left a bit.
Is that
Oh,
north?
you xenophobe.
I like all the people.
It is you and Walt Disney up there at the top of your ivory tower because racist. Scowling, looking over the parapet. Scowling, looking down and saying, oh, fucking hell, look at all them blacks. That is you. And then you say,
What?
I want coffee. And then your like maid who is black, and you call her Aunt Jemima, and you make her say, oh, like that, right? And she goes, you want a coffee? And God, it's so racist, Jonathan. And you
Is
say,
that what I do? I go, I want a coffee, because
no,
that's how black
you
people talk.
make your maid, who you call Aunt Jemima, go, oh, you want a coffee? Like that. And then, yeah, I listen to jazz, right? This is all that you do. She tap dances in because you specifically gave her tap dancing lessons, which she thought was you being generous with your millions, and it turned out you were just being racist again. So she tap dances and goes, you wanna have it? And then you say, I'd love a coffee, but I want milk in it because I don't like black coffee because I am such a racist. And Walt Disney looks at you and goes, oh, I agree because I also am a racist.
Whoa, where's he been? Why does he sound like that? Sounds weird.
Well, when you're frozen for that length of time,
sure.
the larynx, it just sort of stiffens up a bit. Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. So she talks like Pee Wee Herman talks when he's about to eat delicious cereal? I like cereal! Like that?
I'm not going to keep doing it because people might think I am racist when I am just highlighting how racist you are, Jonathan. Yes. So I'm going to stop the recording here a second because I misclicked something. I can't get the Skype recorder back on. And I don't want to miss any more tasty, incriminating gold. So I want to just make sure that recorded. Give me a second. Okay, welcome back. Sorry about the little disjointed bit there. Just wanted to make sure that none of the racism got lost. Because what would this show be without it? Hello again. Hello to my friends who have come round to tea. I don't know why I said that. I am here with Conrad Zimmerman.
Hello.
Who is not racist at all.
Totally not a bit.
I didn't think you were racist.
No.
No, even though you have a moustache like Hitler and Walt Disney. That you are the exception that proves the rule. Just like Jonathan Holmes, who doesn't have any hair at all on his body at all, right? Just smooth and sleek, like
not anymore.
Like a swimmer. You are like Fred Phelps, the swimmer.
Oh, I'm not. I wish I was more like Fred Phelps.
You wish you were more like Fred Phelps.
Why not? Who's Fred? Is he the swimmer?
Oh, absolutely.
He is then.
He swims for freedom and justice.
Jesus.
He's a Jesus swimmer? I didn't know they. What does he do? Just get wet
He's a
and
Jesus
pray,
swimmer.
or
He gets wet and he prays. Yes, he does, sir.
sounds bad. Now that you put it,
Oh, Lord in heaven.
maybe I don't want to be like Fred Phelps. Now I'm worried about it.
That's a great T-shirt. Maybe I don't want to be like Fred Phelps. That's an inspiring message for the children of America.
Yeah, sure. I want to
Yeah.
inspire children. Absolutely.
We have a big laugh, of course, on Podtoid, but it's time to get serious. Because, of course, Jonathan Holmes is not a racist.
No, I'm not.
You're not a racist, are you?
I don't think so. I hope not.
No. It's impossible for you to be a racist because you're a bit not white.
I am all the races, I think. I
You,
think.
you're definitely a couple.
Yeah, I'm at least 3,
Yeah.
maybe more.
It's
Yeah.
a bit greedy, I think, in this economy for you to hoard all the races, just sitting on them to pass down to your children, like a corporate CEO, but with ethnicity.
Yeah, I wonder how my children are going to turn out, if I ever have any. They might just look Caucasian or something. That would be weird.
Yeah. Well, they'll be covered in something white when I get round to them.
What?
Huh?
How do you just do that? How do you just be like, you mentioned having children. Time for semen joke. Mine can make that sudden.
It's
Just a.
it's a gift.
It is.
Shirley Temples was dancing.
She was, and yours is.
Mine is that. What that was. Actually, it was funny. It comes to something in my. I was talking about this earlier. That this is. I'm at this. My career has taken me to a place where, what happened today happened when I'm working on a new video series for The Escapist. It's not video game related. This one. It's something else. Made the pilot, sent it off. And the guy, he's in charge of The Escapist. He's the guy with the money. This professional man, in an email of critique, is instructing me that the judicious use of my anus humour. Which that's perfect. This professional man is telling me that maybe. And he wasn't criticising the anus humour being there, it was just that particular use of anus humour at that particular time. And then I am having, as part of my job, this discussion about when and where to use anus humour, which led him to tell me as and this is why I respect the guy, the line was, if you need that much anus, have as much anus as you need.
That's what he said to you?
That's my career right there, that being told I can have as much anus as I need. Which, I wish you'd tell me more, Jonathan.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you how much anus you can and can't have. Just my anus is it's off limits.
I'd prefer it to be on limits.
I understand your preference.
I'd like your anus to be on campus grounds.
Can't be done. Sorry, it's just a thing about me. My anus, it's just not to be tampered with.
Could he put it on layaway?
Well, I almost.
It doesn't void the warranty. A doctor will still tape it back up. I assume that's what they do with broken anuses. Just duct tape it up.
Well, it's just kind of a space. Anyway. We won't get into that, whether it's positive or negative.
It's a space. I could keep an onion in there. That's a point. I was thinking about this earlier, actually. Yeah, because Thanksgiving's coming up. The time where we celebrate Good Harvest. Good Harvest. And I think you should be a turkey.
Oh.
I would like for you, Jonathan Holmes, my friend, to change your name to Gertrude Gobbler, and you go around all the schools telling the pilgrim story, dressed up as a turkey.
Gertrude?
Gertrude Gobbler. You come out and say, hello, I'm Gertrude Gobbler, the turkey. And Thanksgiving is good, obviously, because we're all here. And we have Indian casinos, which is also good.
Is that the story of?
Yeah, the story of Thanksgiving was the Pilgrims came from England, saw the Native Americans, and gave them casinos.
It's pretty much true. You
Yeah,
cut out a lot in the middle,
and you give
especially when we killed them.
it's.
And
I don't remember any of that happening. You in fact you explicitly say that. You say like the Pilgrims came and rather than kill any of the Native Americans, they brought 50 of them back to life. Using necromancy, which England had banned, and that is why they were pilgrims.
that would be such a better story.
I think it would be fantastic, and that's why, Indian burial grounds are so scary because of the pallor of necromancy that surrounds them.
I guess Pet Cemetery is a necromancy story, isn't it? In a way, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Most definitely, necromancy, and Pet Cemetery, of course, is why we have turkey at Thanksgiving.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because a turkey is a kind of pet.
I'm suddenly having a weird dream-like confusion. Did I once talk to a couple of video game developers I didn't know about necromancy for a long time? Conrad might know. Conrad, did that ever happen on Sup Holmes? Did I ever talk to two video game developers like late at night with weird colors flashing about necromancy?
No, I don't think that's ever happened.
Oh, thanks.
We should do that.
We should, but
I would like for you to change the whole point of your Sup Holmes show.
Yes, the show is now going to be about necromancy.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
I'm up for anything. My brain is...
Aleister Crowley will be our guest on Sunday.
Oh, brilliant.
Is he the Satanist?
No, that's Anton LaVey.
Oh, I mixed them up. Yeah, my mistake. Yeah, my brain's all weird. I've had a really weird day. We should talk about video games, though. Let's not talk about...
Okay, well, that's a good point. We'll talk about video games.
Yes.
So after you tell the children that the
You ready?
Pilgrims raised the Indians... Sorry, not the... Fuck. The Eskimos. Sorry. I want to be politically correct here. Once they raised the Eskimos back from the dead and gave them Eskimo casinos, that's when you hand out free poker chips to the children at the school. And say, here you go and play poker at the Eskimo casino. It's okay. Gertrude said it's fine. And then that's when you turn around, bend over, and you've got a flap at the back of the turkey costume, which we pull down. And then the children line up and deposit an onion up your asshole. As a tribute, so that when they wake up in the morning on Thanksgiving morn, they get 3 Thanksgiving dreidels from Gertrude, because we're building you up as a Santa-like figure for Thanksgiving.
Why? I don't like onions at all. They're the worst.
Yeah, they're only little ones, like little pickled onions.
Ugh! It's so... And then anus, of course. Not my favorite.
Your lovely anus.
Yeah, not... So it's something I don't want near me, near a part of me I don't want anyone near. It's like a triple threat of terror.
They're little onions, and they're children, so their fingers are small, so you'll barely feel it. You'll barely feel it when they push it up there.
It's such a nightmare. Such a...
I mean,
I
know that you'll be nervous. I know that you'll be nervous. Bending over while children, some of which will be autistic, are poking onions up your asshole. And that's why I will be round the other side of the desk, licking your face to calm you down. I'll pull the beak off of your face and like plump it on your forehead. And then I'll just be like just licking the side of your face. Just to calm you down. Just to cool you off.
Cool me off?
You're a turkey, you don't sweat, I assume. So I'll be licking your face in the way that a dog would lick a face, just to calm you down, while children take turns depositing pickled onions up your jacksie.
I will... it's not calming to be licked by a friend on the face. It's not cool either,
I can think of nothing more lovely. Thank you. I'm glad you noticed. I've been keeping in shape.
Yeah, but the breath and your tongue and saliva, just body heat, you know?
Yeah.
You're gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be real sad,
Well, I
real
mean,
sad.
it'll be winter, and if
Uh,
we play our cards right, we'll get all the underfunded inner city schools. So it's not like they'll have a heating system. So it might be good that I'm keeping you warm.
it won't be good that because children aren't going to be like, "Oh, hooray!" and like see a man's anus for the first time, and probably my testicles, which will be visible. It's the first time they've seen that. They're going to be mortified. I'll never forget the first time I saw man's penis and testicles. It was interesting, but it was off-putting to say the least. That was I've told you guys that story, right? Where I was just a kid walking around my condominium complex, and there was a man with a bag on his head dancing around naked.
What?
Yeah. I guess I didn't tell you that story. So I was watching Meatballs, Bill Murray movie. It's a pretty good movie. It used to come on before there was cable. It just came on regular TV like 4 times a week. So I watched it all the time. But I was really into it. I didn't want to leave. I was getting to the good part with the race. And a kid knocks on my window. He's like, "Yeah, come here. You got to see this. This is great." I'm like, "Is it better than Meatballs?" He's like, "It is Meatballs." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Come on, seriously." So I'm like, "All right." So then we go off, and there's a guy with a bag on his head dancing around, real hairy guy, pretty good shape, just dancing around naked. Like, "Yeah, here's my stuff, guys." And we're just like, "Show us more stuff," just laughing at him, and he's dancing around. He was probably a pedophile and whatever, so that wasn't too good. And then eventually someone wised up and called the police, and he got in trouble. But then I think one of the kids went into his house. He's like, "Come into my house. I got cookies." And they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Oh, that's not good." Wonder whatever happened to him.
Interesting. But
Eh.
the important bit of that story is you said the children were laughing and saying, "Show me more stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about. The kids being mortified when they see your rosy rump bared to receive the Thanksgiving gift.
The older kids, like the 14 and 15-year-olds, were egging him on because they were just laughing at him. They weren't threatened at all. I was confused by the sight. I was not. I just couldn't believe how gross men were. Just like a bushy pubic mound. It's like, oh no.
That would be bad. That would be bad. That's why we will shave, well, wax you, I guess, before, because we want to give him a nice, smooth appearance.
Mm, no, no, it's bad. It's real bad. The kids will be
Come
sad.
on, kids, push an onion in my turkey butt.
They they won't they won't do it. They'll leave. They'll just
They fucking will do it. If they don't, there will be hell to pay.
wow.
There are few things that will stop me licking your face, Jonathan. But if those little shits start being disobedient and not playing by the rules, so help me God, it won't be an onion I put up their ass.
Wow. So video games. When's your Resident Evil 6 review going up, Jim? I'm excited about that.
Don't talk to me about my Resident Evil 6 review.
God
When's it
damn
going
it.
up?
God damn it, Holmes.
What? I just want to know when it's going up. I'm like the listeners. I'm excited to read it. Is it up yet?
You've read it. You've read it. You know full well.
I took a quick peek. I didn't have a
Uh-huh.
chance to read the whole thing. What? Why are you guys? I don't understand. I just want to know about the review. When's it going up?
It's it's going up October 1st.
Can we even include this part of the conversation now?
Sure, we can. We can say when a review's gonna be posted.
Yeah.
Can we?
When a review's gonna
So
be
much.
posted. That was awesome. Yeah, Resident Evil 6 review October 1st. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I'm excited for October 1st. Is all I'm saying. That's gonna be a good
Well,
read.
it's the start of the scariest month in the world.
That's true.
Halloween!
Yes.
I love Halloween. I don't like Halloween. I
What?
realised I just said I love Halloween and then said I don't like Halloween.
Yeah,
I'm not into Halloween as a thing. I love Halloween stuff. I think I said this last year on last year's Podtoid. I'll go out and get Halloween stuff that I have no intention of using for Halloween. I just keep it in the house forever. Just various pumpkin paraphernalia and skeletons.
Yeah, Yep, go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm just attracted to the aesthetic of Halloween. I'm not into let's give things to children that won't kill them.
Yeah, it's an interesting time of year. It's when a lot of cool stuff gets sold, but it's not necessarily stuff. I don't know, the things people do to celebrate Halloween aren't always fun for me, especially at my age. I'm gonna be 40 soon, you know?
Yeah.
So are
My
you, Conrad. You're old too. You know what
I'm
it's
not
like.
that old.
Alex and
No.
I will watch a lot of scary films,
Mm-hmm.
which this year will be useful for my thing I'm doing, my non-game thing I'm doing.
I'm so
Um,
curious about
but
that. What could that be?
it's a film thing. So talking about doing a film thing. But yeah, watching a lot of bad Halloween films, which I always love to do, like Dolly Dearest. Love Dolly Dearest. It's
Dolly
awful.
Dearest? Is
Dolly
that like
Dearest. It's like Child's Play, but shitter than Child's Play.
sounds good.
Yeah, it's
That
great.
What
sounds impossible.
when did
it's it's possible. It's very possible, and it's amazing. Dolly Dearest is a good one. What else do I like? Midnight Movie is another one. Those things, those DVDs you find in grocery stores, like 8 movies on 2 discs for
Oh sure.
$5. 7 of them will be shit, but 1 of them will be good. And it's worth it. It's worth the gamble to find the one good one. I highly recommend you do this year, everybody. Just go to Walmart or some grotty little place where the poor people go and find a $5 DVD with 5 to 8 movies on it. You'll have a terrible time, but one of them will be good in
Yeah,
a terrible way.
I can recommend some. You know you know that one?
I am familiar with.
That's a good one. Fury of the Wolfman, one of my favorites. It's a good one for Halloween. I guess it's a little too early to give Halloween hits though. I'll save the rest for
Yeah, we
later.
should have a nice think about it and do a nice Halloween thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, nice idea.
looking forward to it though. I like going. There's a place called Halloween HQ down the road from where I live. I don't think it's actually the headquarters of Halloween. I don't think they base themselves in Mississippi, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Oh, I don't
You
know that. I mean, how close to hell is Mississippi?
Well played. I do find that people are more apt to believe in God the closer to hell they live. I've noticed that. Like it's hot and barren and there's nothing to do out here and people are terrible and they all believe in heaven. I guess you've got to if you live in the deep south. You've got to believe there's something better. There must be a correlation there. Like that's why the Bible Belt runs through the shittest places in the world.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Cities are generally less religious, I guess, and more rural
They
and
got
soft.
something. Yeah, they got stuff to do.
Mm.
Better things. They can get drugs.
We should talk about video games though. Let's do it because it's
Oh,
a short show this week.
it
Let's
is a
talk about
short
video
show.
games. What do you want to talk about? What is the exciting video game stuff you guys have been doing this week? Conrad, you did Tokyo.
Yeah,
How
you
was the
Yeah,
that.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
Tokyo. It was interesting. It was an interesting trip.
You were
Uh,
there last year too, right?
no, this is the first time I went.
Oh, I didn't know that. How was it
Yeah.
compared to your expectations? How did it compare?
I don't know. My expectations for things are generally pretty low,
Mm-hmm.
just in general, because then I'm not disappointed when I get to something and it doesn't live up to my expectations. So I was surprised at the depth and complexity of the adult shops. Um, I was impressed by the collection of games. The Tokyo Game Show is really just kind of fascinating in the way
Mm-hmm.
it's laid out because it's got these two sort of press business days in the front where it's not that populated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the last 2 days are public, and so you walk around the first day, and there's just a lot of space between the booths. Like it makes the E3 corridors look tiny. Like you could
Mm-hmm.
put 3 E3 walkways in this amount of space, and so knowing that the place is always packed on the public days, and you look at this, the scope, as it dawns on you how busy this place is going to be, is really amazing.
And then it does. Then the third day is
Yeah.
just you can't even move.
Yep,
At least
exactly.
I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we did everything we could to get as much stuff out of the way the first 2 days, so that the last day would just be get in and check it out and see how crazy it is, and then get the hell out of there.
Oh yeah, when it opens up on the last, oh god,
Mhm.
yeah, it is hell.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you've been Jim. I forgot.
I went there. Once was enough. Once was enough for me, but yeah, it's a cool. Where did you stay? Did you stay near that 7-Eleven with the eggs floating in the brown water?
Well, that's every corner. I mean, there seems to be a 7. We ate at a convenience stores the entire week. Just
It's good
because
food.
the food is good and it's fresh and it's inexpensive. I'm gonna miss canned coffee.
Oh, I know. Yeah, just the food and the quiet and the nice is what I miss the most about Tokyo. Those three things. The food was so good. Did you stay at that hotel that had like Parappa the Rapper T-shirts in the front lobby at the gift
No,
shop?
we stayed at a different hotel this year. It
Oh,
was I don't know exactly where it was. It wasn't too far from Tokyo Tower.
oh, okay.
But yeah, so it was actually a pretty easy transit to the show. We had a good setup. Dale booked way in advance this year, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it
Mhm.
was you, Dale,
And
Alistair,
Alistair. And
and
then we
Elliot.
met up with Elliot Gay from Japanatour while we were down there, and he did a couple pieces for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. He sat in the Monster Hunter line. That must have been crazy. They didn't end long.
Yeah. He was like, I want to go do that, and we were like, you go right ahead, man. Off you went, and
Yeah, no kidding. It's so amazing how much that's the third version of Monster Hunter 3 to come out in Japan, and they're still excited about it. So weird. I mean, it's a great game, but how many times can you just revisit the same general scenario? But
Bear in mind that Dynasty Warriors over there is as popular as Call of Duty, so
yeah, I was just reading a quote from the Dynasty Warriors producer. And he's confused and sad that people don't like the series, and is kind of beating the series up, saying that they're doing something wrong if it's not big in the West. But it just doesn't speak to any themes that make sense to most people that are kind of embedded in Western culture here. You know, Dynasty Warriors, that doesn't even compute to most people. Whereas Call of Duty, you can immediately relate to those themes.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird because it has a not a huge following in the West, but a very dedicated one.
Hmm.
I've spoken as someone who, for a long time, was embedded in the sort of Dynasty Warriors community type stuff. There is a very hardcore following in the West, but obviously it's not. It's still considered a joke title among critics and a lot of other people. But yeah, I always find it interesting. There's that weird duality where in one territory it's the biggest thing, and in the other it's considered on the lowest rung. It's such an extreme in both ends.
Yeah, yeah. Then in Japan, there's people who are really diehard fans of Halo and Call of Duty, but there's only like 100,000 of them in the entire country who care about it. And Maximum Carnage, I was reading on some blog somewhere that Maximum Carnage, the SNES game, goes for like $1,000 if you can find a new sealed copy of it in Japan. Like the collectors are so hungry for that, whereas you can just buy it
yeah.
here for $20. Weird
There
culture,
was
guys.
there
Weird.
was I saw a Maximum Carnage for the Genesis in a used shop there.
Oh,
It wasn't that expensive, so I don't know. It may just be the Super Nintendo one. I picked up a copy of Snatcher for Saturn
oh, cool.
over there, and it was like $15, so I'm pretty
Yeah,
happy. Now I got to go track down a gun for the Saturn, of course, and find my cables, which are at my parents' house.
I forgot that Snatcher. I thought Snatcher was Sega CD first.
It was Sega CD first, and then they
Oh,
were the Saturn in Japan only.
and it's I can't remember the Saturn. Did you need one of those cartridges in order to play import games? I think you did. The ST key, I think it was
Uh,
called.
you can just do a simple mod by installing a switch on the board.
Ah, mods. Yeah, yeah, that's not gonna happen in my world.
Yeah, gonna be
Modding.
my weekend.
Yeah, sounds
On my
fun.
weekend, it's gonna be like 20 minutes, but whatever.
My biggest regret is not buying more games. I bought a ton of games when I was in Tokyo, but there's still more that I just ran out of room in my
I,
suitcase, but I
I
should have thrown away
bought
clothes
more
or something.
things while I was there.
Oh, I bought so much stuff. I bought
Yeah.
Tingles, the second Tingle DS game. I bought sequel to Radio Allergy, which is a weird shoot 'em up. Yeah, I just couldn't stop buying games. I loved it. I want to go back one of these days.
And I
Great
got
place.
Snatcher, I got Police Knots, I got Red Seed's Profile,
Oh, cool.
and
For PS3 or
yep,
360? Yeah.
PS3. I don't think they released it for 360 over
Oh,
there.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Um, and Quest for Fame, which is a Aerosmith sort of adventure game.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Really?
very curious about this. I'll probably play that on Saturday Morning Hangover one of these days.
Is that PS2 or?
PS1.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure it's a masterpiece.
Sounds pretty interesting. Jim, what are you playing for video games?
Mostly Borderlands 2. The
Just
old
for
Borderlands going on.
That's what I did yesterday all fucking day.
that
I
sounds
need
fun.
to schedule that. I took a lot of time off today, but it was mostly video editing stuff. But I do need to just say a day, like, have a day where I'm just like, fuck it, Borderlands 2,
I woke up
forever.
in the morning. I installed on the two 360s, played System Link with the wife, her in the bedroom, me in the living room, just from 10 a.m. to midnight.
That's
That's
how it's
what we did.
fucking done. That's how we do it. Great game, undeniably.
Yeah.
Great game. Few issues. A few
Yeah.
issues. I don't
I'm
like
not-
the map design. The map
I'm
design.
not a big fan of the shopping interface in some ways. I get confused. I think there might be a glitch when you try and buy like a special deal shield or something, and it sells your existing shield but doesn't actually then buy the one you wanted to buy.
Oh, that sounds like a. I don't think I've encountered that myself.
I don't know. Something weird's happening when I do that on the 360.
There are there are a couple of big glitches in there. Nothing major,
Yeah.
nothing devastating, but there's some stuff. Yeah, so the map design is what kind of it's been putting me off. It's gotten better as it went on, but some of them are just they just feel very convoluted in their design, very roundabout, and they don't kind of. Some areas look like they can take you somewhere, and then you find there's just a big old dead end.
Yeah.
So that's very annoying. I really don't like that when I open the map or a menu, when I close it, I hit the key to walk, and the character just stays there. And I have to take the finger off and press it again because there's some weird delay between the menu closing and the game coming back where there's just no interactivity. And it's very annoying. But other than that, very good game, very funny game. Obviously, it's hard to divorce it from Anthony. I mean, the guy
Yes, it is.
he hosted this show for years, and I spoke to him a lot, and knowing what he's like as a person, that's what that game is. That Borderlands 2 is Reverend Anthony, as he used to be known, Anthony Birch as a person. Every time anyone speaks, but it's good stuff, damn good stuff. Forbes didn't like it. That was quite funny. Forbes slagged the whole game off based on the writing.
What was the last? We talked about the Wall Street Journal review last week.
The hilarious
That was
Wall
a
Street Journal, yeah.
And Forbes reviewed it now too. Why are these? Do they usually review video games? Forbes.
Forbes has had a gaming section for a while. It's okay. They do decent stuff there. David Thier, the guy who runs it, I've spoken to him. He's a cool guy. He actually was the guy who did the review. But I found it interesting that people slagged him off, saying, "Oh, well, you didn't enjoy the rest. You're a bad reviewer. How dare you let the writing affect the rest of the game? Why don't you just judge the gameplay?" But I found it almost a compliment to video games as a whole that the writing affected the rest of the game that badly for him. I know it's not exactly a compliment to Anthony Birch to say, your writing was so bad I couldn't enjoy the rest of the game. But the idea that writing can be so strong now in a game that it could affect someone's enjoyment of the whole game, I found that largely a positive idea. I kind of like that it shows that Gearbox put so much into the narrative and the dialogue that it could have that overwhelming effect on the game. For most people, it's been very positive.
Well, here I'm looking at Forbes right now, actually, and there's a piece here from Paul Tassi, who's a contributor there, that actually is nothing but praise for the humor of Borderlands and Birch and Newman as they write it. So it's not necessarily the whole publication's view, and if that review there is, because this is actually really very, very glowing praise.
Oh, okay.
that's nice.
I didn't notice that one yet, but Forbes are good at that. They're good at presenting almost every argument in the world, so they get an equal amount of lovers and haters. They're very savvy guys. They're not a business blog for nothing. But I found it very interesting that we're having. That as well, like such a big discussion on how the writing of Borderlands 2 has made people consequently love it or hate it. And hats off to Gearbox for taking that risk. And I think it's an important step in video games having more compelling narrative if we're doing that. I thought it was, not a positive review for Borderlands that he slagged off the writing, but positive for games as a whole. And really a positive viewpoint of Gearbox's respect for story and writing, they were willing to risk that. So I thought it was good overall. Yeah.
That's good. Then you played Hell Yeah. You reviewed that. You didn't like it, I guess.
It was all right. I don't dislike it. It's an inoffensive little platformer, just with some annoyances in there. I gave it a 6 out of 10 for the review. It's cool. It's mildly amusing in some places, woefully unfunny in others. The thing that really annoyed me was how it breaks its own rules. You've got enemies that can shoot and sometimes even move through walls, and you can't do the same. And outside of that, the enemies are really easy to kill. But it seems like they broke their own rules just to make you think it's harder than it is. I don't like when games do that. The other big problem was they can shoot you from off camera. They don't have to be on the screen at all. You can't shoot them, even if you know where they are, even if you know you're hitting them. Because you see where the bullets are coming from. The game knows exactly where the enemy is, but it won't register your attacks unless you see the bullet hit the enemy while it's on the screen. If you don't see it, they claim it doesn't count. It's like a referee in a wrestling match. If his back's turned, the bad guy can do whatever he wants. It's that same logic applied to a video game, and I found it kind of petty. So, it's got moments in it. It's worth playing. I don't know if I'd go the full money for it, but there's some moments. There's a great level like set in a psychedelic, trippy area, and one set in this kind of lovely, happy bunny world where there's this French woman singing about how you're a lovely bunny, and there's some cool stuff in there, but a lot of it as well seems like it's like they played a whole bunch of Suda51 games and said, we can do that, and just tried to do it without kind of having the same kind of heart and genuine sincerity that Suda has when he puts himself into his games. It seemed almost like they deliberately wrote down on a sheet, we will be weird and get cult status for that, and just kind of did it by numbers.
Interesting. I've met the director on that game a couple of times, and he is just genuinely weird. And he didn't want to get into too much detail with me, but he implied that the game was made when they were very angry at another publisher, and they just really didn't think a lot of stuff through initially. It was pure inspiration and emotion, and they just started designing it. But then once Sega got involved, it's my understanding that the creative process changed at least a little bit. So I wonder if Sega asked them to tone things down, or who knows.
Yeah, it felt insincere in a lot of ways to me. It's interesting he says that, because it feels very canned, like a lot of the humor. It's like they played Disgaea, They know how to do I'm an evil hell overlord type character, but I'm slightly ineffectual like thing. It's like it's all stuff I've kind of seen before, and it feels like they've played these other games and want to be weird like them. And it's certainly weird, but it's not quite weird and wonderful, you know.
Well, what they were really excited about in talking to them was the whole idea of just killing all of the cute demon lords. Is that right? You do a lot of kills in it.
Oh yeah, they're like the aim is to kill 100 of these monsters.
Yeah, yeah. That's really from the heart. They really wanted to kill those monsters. I can tell you that. Does that make sense? Almost.
I guess, yeah. Like I said, I mean, it's not the general core concept is quite intriguing. The whole idea of killing these 100 monsters and then like finish them off once you whittle their health down. You have to do a WarioWare style micro game that'll flash up. It's all very interesting stuff. It's just it's missing something, and coupled with the annoying factors and the really dodgy controls, really. I feel that whole drill jetpack thing that Ash rides around in is very floaty and sticks to surfaces, and it's uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable to control. But like I said, it's still, 6 out of 10 on our scale. It's worth checking out if you're a big fan of that kind of stuff. It's just expect to come up with some big problems, that's all.
Yeah. Good one. Good one,
Yeah.
Jim.
I certainly wanted to like it a lot more than I did.
Right.
It's got enough charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got enough charm that I, wanted to like it more. It's just not enough charm that I did like it more.
Right. Yeah, that's always kind of a sour feeling. That's sad. Oh, and you got a code for Cave Story eShop. You boot that up yet?
Oh, God, why do you hate that game so much?
I like it. I'm a little sad, though. I messed up. There's this weapon you have to get by giving a family a small man, and then you get a gun that can shoot a duck. But I don't necessarily like that gun. You have to trade your sword that shoots a rabbit man out of the sword in order to get the duck gun. And I kept the sword. Because of that, I didn't unlock a whole mode, so now I have to play the game over again in order to get the mode with the duck gun.
And
so
that's going to be difficult because you hate that game.
It's weird. I've reviewed it twice already. So you'd think I'd be bored of playing through it. I played through it again in like a day. And now I'm probably going to do it again in order to get the duck gun, to get that other mode. I just never get sick of it. It's a great game. It's pretty good. I hope you like it. Have you played through it before, Jim?
I played
some of it.
Some of it. I've played some of it on PC, and I played some of it the WiiWare one. Never played through it the whole way. I have a feeling, like with many games, playing it portable will help. I tend to, these days especially, I tend to find that certain games just work so much better for me in the handheld. I loved the Little Big Planet PS Vita. Loved that.
Oh, sure.
A lot more than I did the console ones. Been playing the Metal Gear Solid HD stuff on the PS Vita as well. And I'm finding, because I used to play the shit out of Metal Gear Solid on the Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PS2. Mm-hmm. And then I was replaying the HD one on the 360, and I was like, this isn't good to me anymore. Like, I still love the story. There's a lot about Sons of Liberty I respect the fuck out of, but I wasn't getting into it. Something had just like some sheen had worn off. But got it on the Vita, loving it again. So
weird.
Yeah.
Wonder what that's about.
Dunno.
Mysterious. It reminds me of the Wii U, because that's the Wii U's whole idea. It's like, make it a portable if you want. And then you did a Jimquisition about the Wii U, didn't you?
I did this week. Yes, this week's Jimquisition video was about the Wii U and why it may, or at least have the tools to preemptively, quote unquote, win this console generation. A bit of a dramatic title, but I'm a salesman. But there's some. The Wii U is going in an interesting direction, I think. I think Microsoft, with its past 2 E3s, have made a very clear statement that they're not that interested in games, at least outside of the money they can make. And if they felt they could make the same money by doing something easier, they clearly would. And And that's not to criticize them. I don't feel like Microsoft owes me video games, you know? It's just I see where their business lies. They're not satisfied just being a games platform holder. They want to own everything. They want to be your entertainment. And that's what they did this year at E3. You know, they spent more time talking about sports, you know, ESPN and all this shit. They spend more time promoting apps and videos and even political news on the Xbox Live dashboard. And again, you know, I don't hold it against them, but now that we have smart TV coming up, which I think is going to become a massive thing, I see television, once the thing that consoles relied on to be played, ironically becoming their biggest threat. Because whenever you tell Microsoft, I don't want to pay $60 a year just to play video games online when I can do that for free, they say, oh, well, you're not just paying for online play, you're paying for Netflix and Facebook and Twitter. And it's like, but I've been browsing for televisions at the moment, and all of the televisions have that, like, built in, and I don't have to pay you to get it. And they become these unnecessary gatekeepers to shit we already own. And I can see that biting them in the arse if they're not careful. Because, you know, televisions, at least for a very, very, very long time, probably aren't going to do your Gears of Wars and your Killzones and your Uncharteds and that kind of level of gaming. They can do apps. Televisions now can do internet. They can even do Connect stuff. There was a commercial for the Samsung that I was looking at while doing the Jimquisition video editing that had people talking to the television. You know, they're not saying Connect, find me pictures of dildos. They're saying television, find me pictures of dildos. And the television will do it. And I just see TVs undercutting consoles, and the big problem is you need a TV to run a console. And the Wii U, interestingly, is moving away from that, like, because you don't have to be near the TV. You can just play it on the little screen. And even though that's not a massive thing, you're still going to need a TV for your Wii U. It at least sends this message that, you know, you don't need to be near that TV all the time. Take a step away from it. Don't look at what it's got. Please don't look at what the television's got. Play your Marios. It's an inch away from your dick.
On top of that, the Wii U is, by eschewing all of those other bells and whistles that the other two console makers shoveled into their own, trying to control the living room. Now that the TVs are taking that space, Nintendo's like, see, fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
much.
they are doing Nintendo TV with two eyes at the end, where they do simulate their own kind of smart TV system as well, but you can
But
watch
that's
your shows
always
on
going to
the
be
controller.
Nintendo's own weird shit. That's like being PlayStation Home, you know? It's...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Nintendo, is they will do these funny little weird things, but they often feel very ancillary to the games. You know, I have a feeling Nintendo, even though they're not always the games that hardcore gamers want to play, they are still very game-centric. And even when they're not doing gamey things, they're still doing a weird experience-type thing that no one else is doing. Like, we might not think that the Me channel is all that enthralling. We might not like the weird, like, I forget what it's called. They used to do the poll type stuff.
Oh, everybody votes, man.
Everybody
I was all over
votes.
that.
Everybody votes. Like,
was
that's weird shit that is kind of useless and pointless, but it's something to do, and no one else is doing it.
They've done it since day one. They had their first home console came with a robot for no reason. That worked with two games, Gyromite and Conrad probably remembers the other one. What was the other one, Conrad? Gyromite and
Oh, God.
it says with the same weird professors. There's just like new icons that Nintendo made up, just like an old man character. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they've done it with every console. They've come up with some attention-grabbing, surface-level thing to get people to buy the system.
Yeah.
Then they'll use that one thing for 2 weeks and be like, oh, so now what do I do with this? Oh, I actually play video games on it? I guess I'll go buy some of those. Didn't think I'd do that.
Well, and they needed to do that in the West initially because nobody wanted to carry video game consoles when the Nintendo Entertainment System was being developed. That's the reason it has that front-loading tray. over here. Back in Japan, it was always a top loader. Now, we
Hmm.
didn't get the top load version until the revision in the 1991, I think, something like
That sounds
that.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was always a top loader there, but they had to make it a front loader so it would look more like a VCR. And they sold it to retailers as being an entertainment platform, and there were going to be other applications. There was going to be business software, and then they had Rob, so it was like a toy for the kids, so they get the toy retailers.
Oh, and the
And
Zapper too. Let's not forget the Zapper.
yep, and the Zapper, and so that stuff all existed to get it into stores so that retailers would carry it and not be afraid that it was just going to sit there and rot and they were going to be screwed with all of this excess product like they were in '83.
Right. And Nintendo's been doing that in some form or another with just about every console since, I think.
Well, it
They,
worked.
yeah, it works. But what always makes me sad is when people, like, I expect people who like video games to focus on video games, but Nintendo will do these kind of surface level tricks to get attention. And a lot of people who even consider themselves video game enthusiasts, they can't see past the gimmick and just think, oh, that's all they do. They just, do robot games or do whatever their trick of the console may be that
And
time.
meanwhile, they tricked however many hundreds of thousands, or in the case of the Wii, millions of people into buying the product in the first
Mm,
place and laugh all the
sure.
way to the bank, and who cares?
Yeah, I just want people to appreciate the good stuff in life, Conrad.
I think the interesting thing they're doing with the Wii U is they're kind of striking this happy medium now. Like the GameCube was pure games.
Mm,
Didn't do too well for them. Wii U, I mean, yeah, there were some great games on there, but it was sold as this funny, dinky toy thing. It
mm,
was. That's how it was marketed.
hmm.
Adequately so, because obviously it made them a shit ton of money. Whereas the Wii U, it's like they've got all these hardcore games. They're advertising, we got Darksiders 2, we got Aliens coming, we've got Call of Duty now. But they've still got the put this thing on the floor and pretend to play golf, you mad old cunt. Like, just this weird shit. Like, I don't know if they've done that before, where it's almost a 50-50
Mm,
gimmick. I say the word gimmick, although I don't use it insultingly like most people do. This stroke between games console and gimmick. I don't know if I've seen them do this 50-50 split. Maybe it'll turn out well for them. That's the interesting thing with Nintendo, is I think they're so unpredictable. You
yeah.
never know whether the next thing they're going to do is going to be this embarrassing failure or this shocking success. And that's why I'm so into the Wii U right now, because I don't know how it's going to go. I just
Mm,
got no idea, and that excites me, especially now, so near to the end of this generation where people are so tired and there's not a lot of intrigue going on. There's this thing coming out at the end of this year that's so I don't know, and that thrills me. I'm giddy to see how this thing performs.
yeah, me too. And who's going to support it and how? Like, I just hope it stays. Like, my favorite thing about the Wii is it's the home to games that are bigger budget than like XBLA or PSN, but smaller budget than PS3 or 360 games. This weird sort of middle ground, like Deadly Creatures and the first No More Heroes, and games that they couldn't spend a lot of money on because they're not bound to bring that money back. But at the same token, they're bigger than what you get on a download service. And I hope the Wii U continues that. So far, so good. I think that's exactly what the Wonderful 101 is. It's very much just like they know that's not going to sell more than 1 million copies at very best, but
Well,
yeah.
Bayonetta 2.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
perfect example. That game is, it's going to do okay, but it's not going to do great. And there's a reason why, the balance sheets were run and Sega didn't do it.
Yeah, putting that on, I mean, assuming that the next Xbox and the next PlayStation are more expensive to develop for, that's not the kind of game that could survive on that Bayonetta
Yeah,
2.
but it
Just
was
funny.
very worth it for Nintendo to do that. Just in terms of marketing, like the amount of time spent talking about that just that week it was announced
Mm,
was
Hmm.
huge. Like,
yeah.
it's one of already, like, the Wii U isn't even out, and already that's an incredible controversy that they did this. And yeah, I can see why Nintendo would spend the money on that and not, something like The Last Story, or they were so begrudging to do Xenoblade, it was so worth it for Nintendo to do this because it generates a huge amount of heat before the Wii U's out from us lot, from us unwashed rabble, and then they've still got the tablet on the floor, pretend to play golf shit to impress Oprah.
Yeah, it's something I've been saying they should do for years, is just publish games that make them look more like the developer that people think they should be, regardless of how they'll sell, just to get people talking about them and for good public relations. It's better use of money than hiring Dame Dench to sell, Cooking Mama or whatever. What was she selling again? Brain training? You remember Dench?
Fuck knows.
You guys remember Dench? Bayonetta? No, wait, Beyonce. I mixed those two up. Whoa, what if Bayonetta is Beyonce? What if they get Beyonce to do the next Bayonetta?
What if Bayonetta was Beyonce?
Yeah, it could happen. Wow, my mind's a flutter. Yeah, people don't even know what Bayonetta 2 is, and they're already saying the graphics aren't good enough. And anyway, should we do questions soon? What should we do, guys?
Have we even got time for questions? Because
I don't know. It's up to you.
I gotta run in a bit.
Let's do 2.5.
All right. Yeah, get 2.5 questions.
Okay, I'll do it. Oh, and you guys should all play Challenge from Kiyoshi. Just look up 8-Bits Fanatic on Google. Click on the page. Play it. It's a free PC game. You download it. It's a tribute / sequel, like a fan-made sequel to Takashi's Challenge, which is a game by Beat Takashi. You guys know about Takashi's Challenge? It's a thing. You guys know Beat Takashi? You know him?
The name's familiar, but I don't know who that is.
I might just be thinking about Takeshi's Castle, though, the game show.
That's also him.
Oh, well, there you go. I have heard of him.
Yeah, he's the. Have you seen Battle Royale? It's like Hunger Games.
Yes.
But, yeah, he's the teacher in the beginning. He's like a director and writer in Japan.
Okay, that's where I know him. Thank you.
That's right. And in the 80s, he's like, I hate video games, but everyone else likes them, so I guess I'll make one that shows how much I hate them. And it sold 80,000 copies.
Oh, isn't that the one that's supposed to be like impossible to beat or something?
You can beat it, yeah, but it's really, you have to like sing karaoke into it for like 8 minutes, and you have to press punch 80,000 times in order to get past a boss. It's like, yeah, it's cruel on purpose. And the developers of Tempura the Dead and Aben Hawkins and the 1000 Spikes made a sequel to it for free. And it's totally awesome. It's easier and it's funnier. It's great. So download that, you guys. It's my advice. I don't know if I got any questions yet. I was just killing time till the questions came in. Derp. Because people don't know that we're recording on Wednesdays from now on.
Yeah, so. I should have said that at the beginning. I did announce it on Twitter, Facebook, all that usual shit. But yeah, we will more than likely, I think we've all decided more or less that we will start recording now on Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays. So people subscribe to RSS, iTunes, and that they will get it Wednesday night now. And then if you're waiting for the post on Destructoid, that'll be Thursday morning now.
Yeah. Oh, someone asked when does the Resident Evil 6 embargo lift. We already answered that. See, people are excited about it. People are excited. They should be. Yeah. All right, so here's a question. Sir Toby is his friend Goonie121, who they do their Japanese anime podcast, the Jap podcast. That's what they call it. Wants to know what we think of the movie Weird Science. You guys seen that? Anthony Michael Hall and that other guy and that Kelly LeBrock, I think.
Oingo Boingo theme song.
Oingo Boingo, Danny Elfman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard about that film for so many years, and I've never actually bothered to check it out. I realize I should.
Good. It's cute. It's a cute movie.
Wasn't there a TV series as well?
There was also a TV series, which was quite entertaining for something that aired on USA late at night.
It's a series about two nerds who want to make a girl to have sex with.
Yeah.
So they use a computer to make a sex girl, and then they take a shower with her and just stare at her navel. And then they turn Bill Paxton into like a disgusting green pus mutant bastard, and then they go to a party.
She's like a genie. basically.
She's like a genie, right?
Yeah.
But the intention is
It's I Dream of
like,
Jeannie, except they made her out of a doll. They wore bras on their head, and they're doofuses, as opposed to being astronauts. It's I Dream of Jeannie.
It is interesting that they are horny, but when they actually make the girl, they treat her very well and don't try to have sex with her too much.
Well,
Do they?
there's also a certain. Well, first off, I mean, they're their creator. They are her creator, and there's got to be some sort of like weird, daddy complex thing there that I would expect.
It's a virtual incest story.
That's just unsettling. But on top of it, it also demonstrates they're not bad people. They're just young and stupid, and they acknowledge that there is a proper way to treat people. And
Yeah,
that's why they're likable characters. If they were just sort of lusty, lecherous nerds, well, give us all a bad name, and that's why I have to appreciate the film to a certain extent.
Yeah, boy, they
don't
treat her
so hard because we have weird science to fall back on.
Yeah, it's
and plus we have Podtoid to see what weird science would be if it was populated with lecherous, nasty nerds.
Like, if Weird Science had been made that way, this podcast, there'd be no need for it.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here.
Indeed.
Actually, this podcast would just be called Weird Science too.
The theme song is pretty good. It's like bits and pieces, pots and pans. It's my creation. Is that how it goes?
From my hands. Weird Science.
Oh, you got a good memory. Yeah, they create a sex object, then treat her like a human being. It's a weird movie. This guy, Blaster, with 3 S's. He's a good guy. He asks, what's the weirdest press event moment? That's a tough question. Can we just think of a weird press event moment? Did you have one in Japan, Conrad?
Well, I did that brain kiss thing. You can see a video of that up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel.
Promote that video. That's a video.
Just a strange thing. They put this headpiece on you, and it clips to your ear and checks your pulse, I guess, or whatever. It's supposed to be scanning your brain for I don't know what. It's supposed to determine whether or not you're attracted to the person that you're looking at for 15 seconds. Because that's not weird. And so there's this, and she's cute, standing on the other side, and she's just looking, she's just smiling. And I'm like, what? I mean, really? Am I doing this right now? This is so fucking weird.
Yeah, her tolerance for feeling intimate and strange with a man, it's pretty intense. I mean, she just stares at you and looks very genuinely interested and compassionate towards you for a long time.
Yeah, and I don't know that I've ever had that before, so I didn't know how to react. Like deer in headlights, like, oh god, oh man,
well, that's a good.
What do I do?
And you pulled it off. Yeah, and that's on video for forever. You're gonna be long dead, and people are gonna watch that video and remember the times. Lucky Chainsaw asks what our college lives were like. Poor, wandering, strange conversations, accidentally just being an employee of a movie theater or just talking to a girl's dad I just met. He's in a bathrobe. It's 3 a.m. and he's like, want some brewskis? And I don't know who this guy is. Why am I in this house? And then, people just piling on top of each other and God knows what they were doing. And then I was in Kaiju Big Battle back when I was in college, which is a monster wrestling league. They had their own TV show for a little while. They opened up for, the 5, 6, 7, 8s? A Japanese band, 3 women. Yeah, we opened up for them once. That was weird. Did that in college. Lonely, not always having a girlfriend. Got dumped a lot. I got dumped like 7 times, I think, throughout college. People are proposing to marry me. Strippers rubbing my tummy and then telling me that I'm too much like Steve Martin, so we could never go out. That happened once. Yeah, it's weird. College was weird. How about you guys?
Bitter. Very bitter. Me and my friend Leo, who does music for me every now and then. He's a very gifted musician now in a band called Dog Stand. You should check them out. They're good. Dog Stand. Good. He and I would... this is actually partly where it came from, what I do now. We would wear sunglasses a lot, indoors, at college, and sit in dark rooms and just sit in the back of an empty classroom in the dark and wait for people to come in and just silently look at them. And we managed to get a guy, went in there, just wanted to study, just wanted to revise, came in, turned the light on, sat down. It was a good 10 to 15 minutes before his head just raised. And then he turned round and saw me and him wearing sunglasses just glaring at him. And then we both got up without saying a word, walked to the door, turned the light off, and left. That was it. We were really obnoxious. It's no wonder we had no friends. I remember at one point kicking over a trash can and saying to one of the other students, "There's something for you to do," and then wandered off. Which was funny because we weren't bullies. It was firmly acknowledged that me and my friend were pathetic, but we continued to act like school jocks, even though everybody knew we weren't. And somehow it was accepted that we did this. We destroyed a lot of property. There was a lot of property damage. He and I would do wrestling moves on chairs, the plastic chairs that they had for students and audiences. We'd give them suplexes or the Undertaker's Last Ride powerbomb. We'd build constructs. We'd get one chair, put it down. We'd turn another chair upside down, put it on top of that. Then we would very intricately balance another chair on top of the upturned chair, leg to leg, so that we got these, and we'd make several of these, just these like religious constructs, and then we'd get another chair and just smash into them. We'd charge at women with the chairs, with the legs upturned towards them, and just scream. We broke a lot of them. One guy, Toby, went insane once with a metal bar and just shattered a hole through one chair. And we created a chair mausoleum, which was bits of a stage. We did drama, so there were bits of the big hollowed out crates, essentially, which you drag out to expand the size of the stage, and we'd set them up two together so that it was basically a big hollow box, and it was great because we could then swing one out like it was the heavy door of a crypt, and that's where we'd dispose of the broken chairs. And we called it the mausoleum, and we were terrified that one day that would be found, and we'd have to pay a lot of money because we broke a lot of things. But that's because our lives were so boring and petty and miserable. That's how we got excitement, was exposing ourselves to that kind of risk. That was the most excitement we had, was this constant overshadowing fear that we would be caught for our bullshit. We would also draw pictures of classmates and teachers being murdered and tortured. We would then write our names in print on the pictures and then autograph them and date them and put our address on them and then just carry them around in our bags in the hopes that they would fall out and we would be caught and expelled. But we just did that because we got off on taking these tiny risks because they were the most dramatic things we would ever do in our short and awful lives. We fully acknowledged we were worthless. What else did we do? Standing on top of big metal constructs and pretending to throw fireballs at the class for an hour.
Like Street Fighter style fireballs, or
no, demonic fireballs. He and I there was this huge metal rostrum type scaffold essentially set up in the drama studio, and we clambered up to the top and then just looked down at the rest of the class for ages, just going ha 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 ha, and we would pretend fireball through in our hands and we'd da ha ha ta-da! To the point where only he and I were amused and the rest of the class had fully ignored us. We did that. We once spent 45 minutes laughing at a cup of slush puppy because it had "The Ice is Cold" written on it, and we thought that was hilarious because it was the most redundant slogan for a product, was "The Ice is Cold." We bellowed with laughter so loudly for 45 minutes another classmate grabbed the cup, screwed it and tossed it across the cafeteria. And other things we did.
Wow. Sounds good. Well, the part 2. Let's look forward to you telling us more about, that could go on and on. It's good stuff. Next time, tell us more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conrad, you anything to add?
Well, I mean, I started cautiously optimistic. I had, sort of a clear direction with what I wanted to do, and after about a semester and some time talking to a lot of people I respected, I realized that maybe this shit wasn't for me, and that was the end of that. I had a really great roommate experience because I did a dormitory, and they paired me up with this guy from Colorado who was really into snowboarding and really wanted to join a fraternity. I had hair halfway down to my ass.
Did you have a
and-
mustache?
no, not at the time. I did have a sort of a chin thing. I couldn't grow a
Interesting.
mustache at that time.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and I actually did get almost as thin as I am now at that time also. So I was pretty skinny and small. And here's this big, sort of loud, obnoxious, drunk asshole. And I would go away for the weekend and then come back. And, it started just as an easy way to get my laundry done, but soon became like this sort of ritual, like, well, if I come home and he's drowning in a pool of his own vomit, will I feel remorse? Probably. I'll call 911. He'll live. It's just not worth it. So it was just easier to go home for the weekends. And one weekend I came home and the whole place is just a complete wreck. And the door is unlocked. He's not even on the floor, and I've got all my shit there. And I was just kind of pissed off about it. And so I sat down and I waited for him to get back. And I said, "Hey, dude, what the fuck? Let's not do this again." And he's like, "Yeah, cool, man, whatever." And then I don't see him for like a week. And I don't know what's up, but I'm not really bitching. And one day I go to the mail and there's all these complaints he's filed against me. He's trying to get me kicked out. And
Whoa.
I guess I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. I guess because when I came in, like the hammer that we'd used to put some stuff up on the wall was just like sitting on the floor in the middle of our bathroom area in the dorm, and the dorm was like 350 square feet tops. This is a tiny little room. And so I picked the hammer up, and I guess when I was asking him to please lock the fucking door, I may have been holding the hammer and absent-mindedly twirling it in my hand. And
Yes.
he took that to mean that while you sleep, motherfucker, I guess. Just a little misunderstanding. But the story spread throughout the entire building. It was like 13 floors of, freshmen. And as his social standing slowly diminished during the course of the year, mine went the other direction.
Sure.
Because I was the guy who was ready to kill him. I was the one who knew right away that he was the guy who was going to piss himself, while hitting on women. This happened more than once. He would get so shit-faced to work himself up the courage to go hit on a girl, get over there, and then urinate on himself in the process.
Wow. Interesting
Wow.
guy.
Charming individual. Really, really a winner. And I'm sure he is an investment banker and makes a lot of money and is very successful, and good for him.
Oh, maybe, or he could be dead. That whole time I was like, and then if I found his corpse, I was sure that was going to happen at any point. So we did it. We answered the questions. There's one last half question. Let's just do it, because none of us will have an answer, I'm sure. What do you guys think of Homestuck? That's from Existential Crisis, Daryl. I looked at Homestuck once. I read about it. Everyone was angry at the video game press for not covering it. It was Homestuck, I think it's some like comic book made on MS Paint, or when you read about it, it's just a bunch of like random words put next to each other, like homebrew, comic book, MS Paint, bisexuality themes, magic. Like, what do you? I still can't figure out what it is. But they had their own Kickstarter and got tons and tons of money to make a Homestuck game, but I can't compute it. I can't even look at it, and it's like I'll look at it, and then before I know it, I'm looking somewhere else. Like, it's like invisible to me, or it just repulses me. It's so boring. I don't know. The art style is really bland. What do you
I
guys
don't
think?
want
Home
to say
stuff.
we don't cover Kickstarters,
Yeah.
because that's not true. We do cover Kickstarters. But if it's not a Kickstarter that we're interested, I mean, on an individual basis, as the writer who's looking at it isn't interested in necessarily promoting that's probably why it's not on the site.
I was gonna try to write about it because the concept was interesting, and maybe if I
I
read it,
just
it'll be
don't
good.
get it. I just don't
Yeah, me
understand
too.
what it is.
It's a puzzle. I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled, Jim. Jim, do you know about the Homestuck?
I give a fuck.
All right, good.
See, there you go.
Decided. Thanks, guys. Let's promote our shows. What are you doing, Conrad? You doing a hangover on Saturday?
Yeah, doing Hangover on Saturday because I was gone last week. We still have half of the Xbox Winter Uprising to play, so should be another really good show. Some good indie games, and maybe if I can get it hooked up, this horrible Aerosmith graphical adventure from the early '90s on PlayStation.
Sounds awesome. From Japan, right?
Yeah, it was released worldwide. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know about North America.
Funny. Yeah, I look forward to that. On Sup Holmes is returning on Sunday, thanks to Conrad being back. Thank you, Conrad. It's
Oh,
exciting.
happy to be back to do it.
Yeah,
Hey,
should be
it's gonna
fun.
be a good show too.
I hope so. Yeah, it's a guy I've never met. His name's Derek Yu. He created Spelunky and a bunch of other games. And I'll be talking to him about the design decisions he made when Spelunky was a free game versus the ones he made when he was selling it on 360, kind of the changes that he had to make, and also how he tried to maintain the initial idea. Because Spelunky isn't a game that a lot of people would put up with initially. And I see that a lot of free games. It's like they'll put decisions in there that make the player feel challenged to a degree that they couldn't tolerate. La Mulana is the same way. That was originally a free game, and that game will test you hard. But then they turn into commercial games after they gain success. It's pretty neat. Anyway, so it'll be on the show. That's Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live stream. Destructoid's Twitch TV channel, and it's also on iTunes. You can check out the reruns of the show on iTunes. Sup, comma Holmes? Question mark. I think that's all I'm doing. How about you, Jim? What are you doing?
Well, we have the Jimquisition, which we mentioned on escapismagazine.com, talking about the Wii U. I think that's it. It's a bit not a lot going on this week. Obviously, we got the Resident Evil 6 review going up on October 1st.
That's Monday, right?
That's Monday. The Hell
Oh.
Yeah review you can read now. It's on Destructoid now. That's it, really. I guess that's it. We will see you next week then. We're done. Hooray!
Hooray!
Hey! As always, you can get us on iTunes, RSS. You can write us lovely reviews on iTunes. There is an app for Podtoid that you get on your Android phone. It just brings the podcast straight to you. You can buy that on Amazon's App Store. Don't get it anywhere else. Oh, that's it. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Fun.